So I thought today we'd talk about what happens in real estate over the Christmas period, because it's an area that it's a bit of confusion for buyers and sellers. So if someone's thinking of going on the market over that or in the lead up to that Christmas period, in terms of timing, what do they need to think about?
Well, really, I guess nothing much happens from the 20th of December through till the middle of January from a contractual point of view. So that's from solicitors or, in fact, most real estate offices too. We start on the 6th of January, but some of them don't.
Yeah, and solicitors might not get back around at exactly the same time. So we'd kind of say from 20th of December until mid-January. And that's an issue for processing contracts.
Absolutely.
So if people are making offers, accepting offers, things like that. But in terms of if somebody wanted to run a campaign like an auction or a tender campaign, so that would be something, a no price campaign we call them, when do they need to start thinking about getting on the market in order to run that effectively before Christmas?
Well, really, I guess we need a 2-week lead up, and that can be conditional on weather and all sorts of things. But ideally 2 weeks. And then we've been running 3-week either auction or tender campaigns. They seem to work fine. We used to run 4 weeks. We don't seem to need to do that anymore, and they seem to work fine. So 3 weeks, if you add your 2 weeks, your 3 weeks together, there's 5 weeks. Well, that's to the point of actually having the end of your campaign.
So you'd want that kind of early December at the latest, or maybe probably early December, you'd want that closing because there might be a bit of post-auction or post-tender work. So that means going on the market mid-November, and then you've got the 2-week lead up to that, so really early November. So you really want to be talking to an agent in October, preferably, if you want to run a successful no price campaign in the lead up to Christmas. If somebody wants to price their property and just, they're ready when they're ready and they just want to get it on the market with a price, when does that have to happen?
Well, a bit of a different story in that there's not the same lead up required. There's still the same lead up in regard to photography, but there's not the same contractual things that have to happen prior to a price campaign. So you can probably take a few days off the lead up period. Really, there's no deadline on a price campaign, so therefore you really aren't too obliged to stick to a particular time.
So you could get on the market right up until the 20th of December, potentially, couldn't you?
Yep.
And then over that Christmas period, we do notice a lot of, well, especially in the Bay of Plenty region, a lot of holiday makers and things coming down. So that can be a good time to show properties. If you got on the market before Christmas and then had viewings and things at your property over that period, that can work quite well.
Yeah, I mean, we are a holiday destination. We know that this area gets a lot more traffic over the Christmas, New Year period. So your visibility is increased quite dramatically over this period by comparison to virtually any other time of the year.
Yeah, and for buyers, I mean, that does tend to be a time too when they have conversations and they make decisions about what they want to buy and things like that. So, and also maybe they've got a bit more free time to go and look at stuff because everybody's so pressed for time that it can be hard to get the whole family out to a viewing. So
I think what happens is that families are together, they start talking about things. There's New Year's resolutions, of course. Don't know if there's such a thing as Christmas resolutions, but certainly people start talking. They're a bit more relaxed and they're discussing the way forward, whatever that might be. So I do think that a lot of those sort of discussions happen at this time of the year. And if there's property out there they can go and have a look at, I think that's probably going to be helpful.
Yeah, the other thing from a buyer's perspective is that there may not be as many other buyers around, or it might not be the usual buyers. So could be a good time to make an offer, especially if a vendor wants to be sold in that period as well, because it's quite attractive to be sold before Christmas, or it's a good time for vendors to be making decisions as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it can be an interesting time. Coming back, in the new year, I mean, okay, everything's closed until mid-January. How do you hit the ground running in that start of the new year?
Well, I mean, we have properties now that we're listing now that we intend to take to market early in the new year. So really, it's just a matter of getting all of your ducks in a row prior to that point.
Yeah.
Take your time. Take the New Year, Christmas New Year period off, and then we just hit the ground running. It's really pressing the button and going.
And we've got our Bid Day Out auction campaign, which happens mid-February every year. So the idea behind that is really to have everything kind of lined up at the end of the year, hit the ground running as soon as the offices open in January, and then you've got that 3-week campaign and then a big auction event, which is great for visibility for the vendors on the market and great for buyers too, because they get to see a lot of properties all in one go, and it's not that sluggish start to the new year that we see sometimes.
Well, I guess it's the whole reason for doing that was to fill what was a bit of a gap in real estate. And property brokers have been doing this for 3 years now, or coming up 3 years. And the idea was to fill that gap when it was generally fairly quiet, to actually hit the ground running, beat some other agencies to the punch. And I think the beauty of that, and you mentioned it, but the beauty of it is that the fact that it actually brings a whole lot of properties together, a whole lot of people together, there's a lot of visibility.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on at that time of the year anyway, like that February, March and April are the highest number of sales in real estate. So it's a great time to be going on the market. If you're thinking of buying or selling over that period, just give us a call and we can talk you through your options.